We are back. That's right. We are back. This is Race and Ethnic Relations on Campus podcast show. And this is podcast show number nine, and it's entitled Representative Ilhan Omar. That's right. Representative Ilhan Omar. Wow. We moved on from send her back to Representative Ilhan Omar. Show number 9. We are definitely back in the flow, and this is one of the biggest events that has happened during the summertime. And again, I try to make these shows, Race and Ethnic Relations on Campus podcast show, as informative but also teachable, to allow us to slow down and think about the ramifications between all of us, the racial and ethnic issues and the cultural issues. But this is what our country, and particularly college students, are struggling with day in, day out. And that's the reason why I wrote my book, Race and Ethnic Relations on Campus, Understanding Empowerment and Solutions for College Students in 2018. And it is just taking off. Because, and I'm going to have so much new material, oh my gosh, new lecture material coming in 2020 when I return teaching that class. And I just can't wait to teach the class, by the way, because it's just going to continue to snowball. But these are issues that I'm not able to bring to the class, because these are, unfortunately, these are political issues that have arisen during this summer of 2019. Of which I'm always not surprised that events like this happen every summer. For some reason, summer events usually happen, and race and ethnic conflict, race and ethnic misunderstandings usually happen, particularly during the summertime in our country. So again, I'm a person that always and always tries to bring people of all backgrounds together. It's not a shouting match. It's a learning opportunity. Because all of us have our own biases and misconceptions and stereotypes. And in my earlier shows, I highlighted some of those basic issues. And we're going to go over them in my other shows. But right now, since there's still very significant news on Representative Ilhan Omar and the impact of our president's rally a few weeks ago in Greenville, North Carolina, made me slow down, and hopefully it will make the country to slow down to think about the implications of this, because this is still, the presidential election is just starting, and I don't like to bring too much politics into this, but it happened, and I always like to, and I don't care what side you're on, I'm just want to get to the facts and the policies and what people stand for, because again, that's how I was raised, and that's what I learned when I was working for the federal government for 5 years. Learn what the policies are and what people stand for on the policies. Wow. So again, I want to give a shout out. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for even sending emails. Keep them professional as much as possible. I hope you can recognize by now. I'm not going to respond to bad emails. I'm going to respond to good emails, or just conversational emails, not bad emails. So again, this is about bringing folks together, and that's the reason why I do these shows, because I enjoy talking about these issues a bit further than what I can talk about in my classes, and I know I have the right to do these things, and I try to be as politically correct as possible, but I push the envelope a bit, and it's okay. It's okay to push the envelope. What I mean by pushing the envelope, challenge what we normally want to follow. It's okay. It's 2019, folks. It's not when I was I'm going to date myself. It's not the early 60s, 1960s when people were, "Ooh, well, we can't say anything against the establishment," or the early or early 70s, but that's when things were really breaking off. But and it's not the 50s. Oh wow. And this is 2019. Oh my gosh. So again, we should be able to have a professional discussion, debate, but arrive at much better solutions now in 2019. So again, I titled this show Representative Ilhan Omar because I want to share with our listening audience more about her background. And again, I'm getting this information from Wikipedia, straight from there, because I get other information from elsewhere, but my time is limited, and then I follow up on additional resources. So, but this gives you a general overview of a person, of an event. And I just want to share with you her political, this time more of her political background, or how she arrived as being a representative of our U.S. House of Representatives, Minnesota's 5th Congressional District. And as I said in the last show, she's the first in several areas as a House of Representative member, being the first Somalian American, the first naturalized citizen from Africa, being a part of the U.S. House of Representatives, the first non-white woman elected from Minnesota, and one of the first 2 Muslim women to serve in Congress. So she has a lot of firsts. But and now I'm going to spend some time and I don't know how long this podcast show will be, but I just want to highlight a few early issues in her political career. Not to personalize this issue where you're originally from or whatever. I talked about her struggle. And again, I'm going to learn so much about it. I know I will. See, that's what I do. I start to do some major research on folks. And that's what I did with my book. My book 2010, Cultural Rights Movement, when I did a lot of research on our president, Barack Obama. Because I was not aware of his background back in 2008, and then I wrote a book about, not specifically about President Obama, but the cultural rights movement, and that brought up an issue of reparations, and that really highlighted a lot of lively discussion from our folks listening audience. So let me get to Ilhan Omar's political career very quickly. Ilhan Omar is a member of the Congressional Progressive Caucus and has advocated for a living wage, affordable housing, and universal health care, student loan debt forgiveness, the protection of deferred action for childhood arrivals, and abolishing U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement, ICE. She has strongly opposed the immigration policies of the Trump administration, including the Trump travel ban. She has been subject of several conspiracy theories, death threats, and other harassments by political opponents. A frequent critic of Israel, Omar has denounced its settlement policy and military campaigns in the occupied Palestinian territories and what she described as the influence of pro-Israel lobbies, such as the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. In early 2019, Omar was criticized by a number of Democrats, Republicans, and Jewish civil rights groups for comments about American support for Israel that said drew on anti-Semitic tropes. Omar apologized for some of the remarks. Now, earlier in her political career, Omar began her professional career as a community nutrition educator at the University of Minnesota, working in that capacity from 2006 to 2009. So she was out in the community, a community nutrition educator at the University of Minnesota, working in the greater Minneapolis, St. Paul area. So she was out, a community worker, community nutrition educator, community nutrition educator, coming from her educational family background. In 2012, she served as campaign manager for Carl Zidrick. I got that wrong. Zidrick. I apologize. Re-election campaign for the Minnesota State Senate. Between 2012 and 2013, she was a child nutrition outreach coordinator at the Minnesota Department of Education. So again, she became politically active, working on re-election campaigns for Minnesota State Senate, and then still advocating for child nutrition outreach coordinator with the Minnesota Department of Education. In 2013, Omar managed Andrew Johnson's campaign for Minneapolis City Council. After Johnson was elected, she served as his senior policy aide from 2013 to 2015. During a contentious precinct caucus that turned violent in February 2014, she was attacked by 5 people and was injured. According to the Minneapolis Post, the day before the caucus, Minneapolis City Council member Abdi Warsam had told Johnson to warn Omar not to attend the meeting. As of September 2015, Omar was the director of policy initiatives of the Women Organizing Women Network, advocating for women from East Africa to take on civic and political leadership roles. In September 2018, Roll Call called her a progressive rising star. So you can see that when she gets involved, things happen. Things happen. Community outreach coordinator. Things happen. She gets pushback, but she continues. Things happen. She's been attacked, but things happen. She still advocates for women from East Africa to take on leadership roles. Things happen. And that's the reason why she's being politicized by whomever. But things happen. Minnesota House of Representatives. In 2016, Omar ran on the Democratic Farm Labor ticket for the Minnesota House of Representatives in District 60B, which includes part of the Northeast Minneapolis. Her chief opponent in the general election was Republican nominee, another activist in the Somali American community. In late August, Oscar announced his withdrawal from the campaign. In November, Omar won the general election, became the first Somali American legislator in the U.S., and her term began on January 3rd, 2017. Her tenure and activity. During her tenure as state representative for the District 60B, Omar was an assistant minority leader for the DFL caucus. She authored or co-authored at least 266 bills during the 2017-2018 legislative session. Her committee assignments were civil law and data practices policy, higher education and career readiness policy, finance, and state government finance. So this, just her political history in the Minnesota House of Representatives will tell you, give you an indication, she makes things happen. That's what I'm learning by going over her career very quickly. She makes things happen. That is my theme. Yes, she makes, I'm writing this down, things happen. And what I might mean by this, she causes change. Not just for herself, but others. She causes change. Why? Because she's already gone through a lot. She's already gone through a lot. She makes things happen in a short period of time. Just being in the Minnesota House of Representatives. She makes things happen. She's very community oriented. She's very active in all different types of groups. All different types of groups. Underrepresented groups. Underserved groups. Misrepresented groups. She makes things happen. And again, I'm trying to learn about it. I want to bring this as a teachable moment. And again, I'm going to get as much information as possible about this person who was the brunt of the chant, "Send her back." And yet she makes things happen. Serving on committee assignments such as civil law and data practices policy, higher education, career readiness, and policy and finance, and state government finance. She makes things happen. And the more and more I learn about Representative Ilhan Omar, wow, I get thoroughly impressed. More and more I learn about Ilhan Omar. Lots of firsts already. Wow. I become speechless once I start gathering this information and then really start reading it out loud and thinking about it. And yet you have a group of folks who said, "Send her back." And you're going to see it again and again and again, by the way, during the political campaigns. And it just doesn't stop here. A lot of folks just like to stop. Okay, no, you see it. You're going to see it much more so. Because that's all about divisiveness. And I'm not about divisiveness. I like to learn about folks and where they stand and their policies. Are they truly working for as many folks as possible? Or are they just working for a certain segment of the population? Hello. Are you working for just a certain segment of our U.S. population? Or are you trying to reach out for all people? Because, again, I'm talking about race and ethnic relations on campus, but everywhere across the United States. So are we working for the betterment of all people, not just for a certain segment of the U.S. population? Hello. And I'm not going to go down the political rant. That's not what I do. I'm looking at racial and ethnic issues, cultural issues that brings us together. And sometimes it takes just slowing down and learning about what a person does, what they stand for. And it gives you an indication where they're going to go. Yes, gives you a great indication of where they're going to go. So just going over this again and again and then reading it out loud, I can see that she makes things happen. And she's making our country second guess. Think about what that chant was all about. And see, I haven't even used words of hate. Not going to go there. Because that's already says it in just saying send her back. That's, like I said in the previous shows, that's disgusting. That's sad. It saddens me. In 2019, when you slow down and learn about what people truly, what they represent, what they're trying to do for as many folks as possible in the U.S. and also in their native country. Still giving back. Still encouraging future leaders. Wow. So that's just a little bit of her political career. Her political career and the policies that she stands for. That's what I want to find out. And I would think that that's what most U.S. citizens would want to find out when we are making our decisions of who to vote for in our country, in each and every state. And when it's the national elections, yes, find out more of the policies. But look at the policies in your own state. Look at what people represent and make your decision there. Make your decision there. But I have to say that just reading what she's done, and just a few things, and again, I'm getting as much information as possible, as rapidly as possible. And there's been a lot of pushback, and there's a lot of misinformation. And again, the sense that I'm getting is that she makes things happen. Right or wrong, she makes things happen. You got to give a person credit for when they makes things happen. She makes things happen. Wow. Within a short period of time of who she is, what she's going through. Wow. So again, I'm just looking at the policies. I don't know. Again, I'm learning as much as possible. I'm not her spokesperson by any stretch of the imagination. And again, and I don't agree with a majority of politicians nowadays. And you got to see you really got to investigate every aspect of each and every politician and live with that. Again, but again, just to recognize what people stand for is very important. But not to personalize politics, but look at the policies. Look at the policies of Representative. That's right. Look at the policies of Representative Ilhan Omar. And then you should feel disgusted for those who agreed with send her back. Should feel disgusted. So again, that's my take. I'm going to cut this one podcast show a little bit. I don't want to go too long. I can go on a rant, but I'm not about going on a rant. I like to learn as much as possible in these podcast shows, but learn as much as possible in all the various issues of race and ethnic relations on campus and off campus, in real life, in everyday life. And that's where, still in 2019, everyone's got to be so... Now, interesting, everyone's got to be so politically correct, but certain leaders don't have to be politically correct. Why is that? Ridiculous. That's ridiculous. So, again, another show of which I say it was wrong, it was disgusting for things that happened and that send her back, chant and rally, and I'm sure it's going to, like I said, I'm sure it's going to be mentioned again in the campaign, in whatever reason or whatever situation. But just do your homework and learn more about folks and make your decision upon that. So this is Dr. B. This is Race and Ethnic Relations on Campus podcast show number 9. Thank you, Spotify. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, Podbean. Thank you, Apple Podcasts. And thank you, iHeartRadio, for bringing our podcast to many more folks. And please don't hesitate to email me at ejb678@gmail.com. That's right. Subscribe to my podcast. Send me an email. Yes, send me an email at ejb678@gmail.com. Let's have some more fun. Man, we just still getting started. This was show number 9 of the Race Relations, Ethnic Relations Race and Ethnic Relations on Campus. And I still got another podcast show on ethnic health disparities, and a little crossover there. Ethnic health disparities, that's going to get moving on again. And then I got a special surprise coming up in August, another potential podcast show. Hello. But that's going to be even more, even different. So again, I'm really enjoying these shows. Again, subscribe, email me, and just listen. Pass the word. Tell it to your friends. Tweet about it. Instagram it. That's right. Instagram it. I'll talk to you again soon. Peace out, folks. Keep it real. We keeping it real each and every day. See ya.